Okay, so hello and welcome back everyone. Today I'm Kevin on Kevin MC, and what we have in front of me is a GK68X, which is essentially this thing. So this keyboard essentially is the GK68X that you can buy in a kit or with keycaps, which are either APS or you can get like the PBT ones, the fancy ones, like this set. This is the PBT set, and I do not use them because they have this TSA profile, which is just shit, and I don't like it at all. I only have the spacebar on because I don't have anything else that uses spacebar. And also comes stock with the Gatron Browns, which I've looped with some NRGI Zero grease, which is okay enough, I'd say. Yeah? They sound like this, unlike the stock rattly Browns, and everything else aside from the arrow keys are MX blacks, aside from this thing, which is an MX grey. This cherry MX grey sounds like this, and the MX black sound like this. Stabilizers out of the box. Let me go show you the stabilizers. Also, in the box you get like these white stabilizers. I mean like black stabilizers with white sliders, and they're okay enough on like the smaller keys like the backspace, the shift, and like the on like the backspace, the shift, and what you call this thing, the shift. Yeah, okay. So both the shifts, I mean the enter, the shift, and the backspace. These things are okay, but the space bar is not. I do not think it's actually the stabilizers, but they actually look quite good, yeah. And they also sound quite good, no rattle and stuff like that, yeah. But still on the spacebar, I changed that thing out to the stabilizers I have at home, which are these like black stabilizers, unlike what you get in the box, yeah. I put like these black stabilizers on, that is to like essentially get the rattle down quite a bit, and I think it's still rattling because of the fact that either this thing's not straight or one of these are not, I mean the plate's not straight. So this thing, you also get the USB-C cable over here, yeah, and you also get the option to like change over to a split spacebar layout, which I think is quite cool, but I do not use because I do not have the spacebar keycaps that you need, yeah. So I'm not gonna use that bit. And this is the user manual, quite useless honestly, yeah, not very informative. It gives you like this binding and stuff like that, yeah. Then this is the stock spacebar stabilizer, which I did not use in the end. And then you have this stuff, which is, these are the keys that come in the kit, yeah, essentially. So you have these Mac keys, and just like get this thing and options, stuff like that, yeah, which I as a Windows user did not use. Then you have like this, let me go show you, yeah. So you have this, which is essentially a keycap puller, which pulls keycaps out like this, yeah, simple enough. And then you also have a switch puller, which is to pull switches out. Let me go show you, yeah, with one of these scale box jades. So you just do this, you find like these pins over here, then you squish this thing like this, and then you'll be able to like pull the switch out. This thing's not very nice. I still recommend going with one of these like more fancy pullers like this, because they're actually more close together, yeah, so you can actually work in like tighter spots than this thing. Let me go put this thing back there. You also have this thing, which is the split space bar, which I did not end up using. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. So other than that, this thing also has RGB, but at least the RGB is under the PCB. So what that means is that you can actually use these black switches, I mean like the black housing switches, which normally do not have like the hole in the bottom for the LEDs. So let me go show you what I mean. So let me go push this in the box, yeah, and let me get a sample of an MX black. So over here, I actually sell these things, so you can actually see what I have right here, yeah. I also have some more outside. This has no hole, yeah, over here. Let me go show you. This has no hole, and this glorious panda has a hole. Normally this hole would be for the LED, but this thing has the LEDs under the PCB, so this switch which does not have a hole will actually work. But the thing with this now is that if you're using a blackout switch, you will not have RGB. So let me go show you. Yeah, plug this thing in, and there you go. So I assume you can actually see it, yeah, but I do not think you can because of how bright my lights are. So this, let me try to turn the lights off, yeah. As you can see right now, yeah, is that the arrow keys, which are gate around browns, will actually shine up. Everything else is just completely black because of the fact that the switches are not actually RGB. See, everything else does not work because of that. Let me go turn the RGB off, and let me go show you what else. I think that's pretty much it, yeah, for this. So this include the cable is quite loose actually, to be honest, yeah. So it's not like the N Pro 2 where you actually have the cable being pretty tight, so you can just pull this thing and push it in quite easily. The bottom is pretty simple, just this essentially, yeah. Standard 65% case, which is okay enough for me, yeah. Nothing too special. And so I think now it's time for the typing test, because I've been talking about this thing for like 66 minutes and 30 something seconds. So let me go push this thing down, yeah. And also my PC is finally done, yeah. So I found a cheap hard disk which costs next to nothing, which still has like 100 Sentinel points, and that's good essentially, yeah. So I just took it up, and now I'm using this 500 gig Hitachi drive while waiting for my WD Blue 2TB drive, which did not end up getting RMA'd, so I'm gonna have to pay for the service myself, or I'm gonna have to like service it myself. And because it was the SATA connector that burned, I just in the end will try to like convert that thing to Molex. So let me go push this connector in, yeah. Close this thing. Let me make sure you can actually see this, yeah. Oh shit. Okay, looks good enough. Let me see if you're actually focused. Push this hand over here. Okay, pretty much, yeah. So let's now do the typing test. So what means 60 seconds? English, yeah. Okay, so 68 WPM. Not bad, I'd say, being MX Blacks, yeah. So I actually understand the feel of the key, and they feel nice. I'm also quite used to these keycaps, which are what I used to daily drive. So overall, I'd say this thing is a solid 8 out of 10 essentially, yeah. So it costs quite a lot, but for the cost, you actually get these arrow keys, and yeah, nothing else other than arrow keys and a hot swap port. So honestly, this is just another keyboard. Just, yeah, nothing too special, nothing too odd, but at least you have something to type on that feels okay enough, does not make a lot of noise. If you end up getting the Gateron browser, stuff like that, yeah, I would recommend you like to essentially loop the switches, or just change the switches alright, yeah, because Gateron browns are not that good, I'd say now, yeah. And they feel okay, I mean, but they sound quite noisy. So for tactile switches, I would say you should feel the switch without hearing the switch. Like the Glorious Panda, which is quite good, and the Gator Browns are like on the other end of the spectrum. These MX Blacks on the other hand are quite good actually, as linears. I've not looked them, so they actually sound quite paltry, but they feel quite pretty much okay. Not as smooth as like these Gatron Browns, I mean Gatron Reds right here, yeah. This thing's the N Pro 2. This thing's way smoother than this. And even this Matthias, whatever the heck you call this thing, yeah. It's quite smooth. These things are the silent reds, yeah. So, honestly, if you want to buy the GK68X, it's quite a good buy for like a hot swap enthusiast spec keyboard thingy, but not for the full set. I mean the whole set. Like if you're not gonna build something up yourself, this thing's easy to build up because it's essentially doing nothing. You're like finding keycaps, then you gotta like go buy switches and buy the board, the PCB. Then just plug them all in and you're done. So that's pretty much it for the GK68X. Thank you for watching and hopefully you liked it. Honestly, this thing is now my daily driver because it's the most like standard of all my keyboards. The Focal Alps and the Matthias Alps will die soon if I use them every single day, so I can't use them every single day unless I actually wanted them to die. Yeah? And as for the Gatron Reds on the N Pro 2, the N Pro 2 is actually supposed to be wireless and my PC does not support Bluetooth. I bought dongle and that dongle was shit, so it did not like connect with the N Pro 2, which means that I'm gonna have to use it with a cable. And like, why not just use this? So yeah, thank you for watching and goodbye.